PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Abdul from Lexitas Pharma Services. How you doing today, Abdul?
Hey there, nice to see you.
It's great to have you on today. And well, curious to know what Lexitas is all about. So we could go ahead and kick it off with that. Is that fair enough?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you for having me on. I'm pretty excited to be here. So my name's Abdul Rastagar. I'm the head of marketing at Lexitas Pharma Services. And we are a CRO, which is a clinical research organization. We do clinical trials for pharmaceutical companies. And we specialize in ophthalmology, so only studies new therapies and therapeutics for the eye. And that's a pretty exciting area because you can imagine the debilitating loss of quality of life if you're losing your vision, or if you have, you're born with some diseases. Our customers are predominantly or entirely pharmaceutical companies and medical device manufacturers who develop some pretty amazing therapies to help people see better again. It's an incredible work that they do, and we're pretty excited to be part of that journey.
Awesome. So then, so that way our listeners get a good understanding of Lexitas here. So then, what would you say is a key problem that you guys solve there at Lexitas?
Yeah, so our clients, they develop the science behind the medicines or whatever therapeutic intervention, but in order to get those drugs to market and to the patient requires proving to the government, to the regulators, whether that's the FDA in the United States or the European Medicines Association in Europe and other places around the world. You have to prove to them that these medicines are both effective and safe. And in order to do that, you have to study it in human beings. Those are called clinical trials. You've probably heard of that, at least conceptually, right? So we manage those clinical trials. A clinical trial is extremely complex, requires a lot of patients across many sites all around the world. In order to have statistically significant data available. And a lot of these companies don't have the bandwidth or the capabilities to manage that many sites. So we work with investigators in ophthalmology who bring in patients, and we work with them on developing a protocol to study some of these drugs and see the efficacy. These studies take a year and a half, sometimes 2 years or more. So it's an incredibly complex undertaking, and we're actually pretty excited and proud to be part of that journey.
Definitely awesome. And well, you were talking about your clients. So is it fair to say your vertical is pharmaceutical companies and only focused in the ophthalmology?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're quite niche, right? There are a lot of other CROs out there who do rheumatoid arthritis or central nervous system or oncology or whatever it may be, right? We are focused 100% on the eye, which gives us a unique ability because we have a lot of expertise in just that one area. Every one of our kind of service team members are very, very well experienced with ophthalmology studies.
Definitely. So then, what would you say? How does your audience typically find out about you guys, or what would you say is your top client acquisition channel for you, Abdul?
Yeah, actually, it's an interesting question because of the journey we've taken in the last year or so. Lexitas has been around for over 12 years, but it was pretty small, kind of, almost like a little bit of a mom and pop shop. We did a few studies a year here and there. And in about 2 years, a year and a half ago or so, we were acquired by a private equity company, and with the goal of growing quite significantly because we have a lot of expertise. One of the things I found out, and I've been with Lexitas a little bit over a year, one of the things I found out when I first came here is that brand awareness was virtually non-existent. It really we did not do much of an outreach in the past. And how can you participate in more studies and get more clients if clients don't know that you even exist, right? So my biggest, one of my two big priorities for this past year has been raising brand awareness. And the answer to answer your question is you go where the client is, where the customer is, right? Which for us tends to be on LinkedIn. So we've had a tremendous effort put on LinkedIn over the past year. with some incredible results as well. We started out with 400 followers, I think last November, where we just December 31st we hit 12,000 followers. This is, however many, the order of magnitude or more growth. And we see that the brand awareness that we measure that one through the number of followers, but also the number of increase of RFPs and MQLs that we get, and how many clients cite LinkedIn. All of those measures tell us that the strategy has been beyond incredibly effective for us.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a great uplift there. So then, what role does the website then play for your client acquisition?
Yeah, that's another good one, because the website up until last summer was, let's call it what it was. It was terrible. It was a very basic website with no possibility to capture any information. It really didn't provide any. It was just a very bland informational website. We've redesigned it quite significantly since then. And the phase one, there's also a phase two and a phase three going. But in phase one, we wanted to make it a modern, clean, and friendly website, but it also has a lot more information, and most importantly, has the ability to provide to convert, right, people who come to our website. Now, in the beginning of the year, traffic to the website was very low. It's grown quite a bit, and this last month of December was our highest month to date ever historically in number of visitors. And what we're really trying to do is capture people coming into our subscribe to our newsletter, to provide us information and now contact us form, of course. And then what we've done is we've also have a scheduler right on our website. So if somebody wants to meet with us, they have the ability to just click in there. It opens up a Calendly type functionality. They can go in there and just meet with somebody right then and there. So they don't have to say, hey, I want to meet with you on these days, and then somebody has to go look at that back end. It just shows up on the business development person's web calendar, or whoever the right person is. So that's some of the strategies we've employed, and we're going to continue to develop the website actually quite a bit more. But one of the things that we did last month, which I'm very happy we did, was we installed a plugin for accessibility. That means people with low vision or vision impairments now have this cool little tool. You've probably seen it on some websites here and there, that allows them to make adjustments based on their own kind of visual limitations, so that they can see things better. And that's obviously, when you're an ophthalmology company, that should be a no-brainer. But even for other websites, this is something I've been on kind of pounding on LinkedIn, on my own personal LinkedIn, is that as marketers and as digital marketers, every website should have this, because it's just the right thing to do.
I would totally agree with that. Definitely. That's awesome to hear from you. And well, of course, right? I mean, one of the questions I'm going to ask later on, but we'll get to that later on. It's in terms of that. But let's switch gears a little bit, and let's talk about you being the head of marketing there for Lexitas. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
Well, so the day-to-day is very much tactically oriented. I'm trying to keep a longer term vision as well, and kind of the long view. So it's balancing the strategy and the tactics on a regular basis, which is very complex. I do a lot of the content as well, because I'm a subject matter expert in the ophthalmology space. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have some expertise in ophthalmology, but finding a content marketer who has expertise in ophthalmology has been very, very difficult, as you can imagine. There are not many of those around. So I've been working on that quite a bit. We have a lot of people internally who are experts, but not necessarily content people, right? So that combination of my content development ability with their expertise in ophthalmology has really allowed us to develop content. So that's one of my big things. The other thing we do is try to be very kind of strategic about our leads. So I don't really count leads very much. I don't even count MQLs. I keep a much bigger, longer term vision on our MQLs that convert to RFPs. Because that, I don't really care if I get 10 million leads and none of them convert, right? I'd rather have a handful of really high quality leads, MQLs, that then actually convert into an RFP. And that's a complex undertaking for us, because the volume of studies is low. At the end of the day, there are only so many ophthalmology studies each year. So, and those cycles, the sales cycles themselves, are 1+ year. So gathering that data and keeping an eye on that is actually pretty complex. It's not like a SaaS web product where it's a high volume, fast flow through. We're a very different beast.
Definitely. All right. Well, it sounds like you got a full plate there on your hand. Definitely, right? Nobody wants those a million leads if they're not going to convert. So definitely that's an important thing to look at. Well, let's jump into our next section, Abdul. It's our rapid fire question round. So you ready for them?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. First off, what is the last book that you read? But it can't be yours. For you can check out his book, Up Your Game. You can find it on Amazon there for Abdul Rastagar.
Oh,
But you can,
thank you for the plug. I wasn't going to plug my own book.
all right.
I appreciate that though. So it is January, and every year on January 1st, I read Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. And that's the one I just read recently. So
Oh, interesting. Is there a reasoning behind why you start the year with that?
there is. I read Mark Twain's autobiography, Sam Clements, right? Autobiography, and in his like 10,000 pages of autobiography, or however long it was. So there was a sentence in there in which he said the greatest book he ever read was The Jungle Book, and he made a point of it to read it every year. And I'm like, well, if it's good enough for Sam Clements, it's good enough for me.
All right, awesome, awesome. Now, what is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
We're developing our website is a pretty big deal. So taking an additional next step, right? We have a first piece or that we did in this past month, but developing continuously to make that the top-notch website in our space. This is a big focus for us.
Okay, perfect. Now, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
It actually goes back to what I was saying earlier, the bringing in the thought leadership from our clients and our own internal experts and packaging that up into content, into customer facing content. I wish there was a tool that would just click and would do it all just like that for you. I mean, yeah, you can say AI and GPTs do that, but no, they don't. Not really, not a quality stuff, at least not yet. So if there was one tool I could have that would have flipped my fingers and could bring in, download all the thoughts from some of those experts and package it up into 5 different ways, that'd be tremendous times.
Definitely. All right, awesome. Now, if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
So the we've done a fair bit of automation actually. There's a lot more going on. I think the analytics behind it is still very complex. I'm surprised at how complex it is, and it takes a lot of manual culling through the data and fixing things. And I wish we could there was a way of automating those things better. And that's not necessarily a matter of our instance or tool. I think it's just the state of where the technology is, right? I'm continuously surprised at how much time we have to spend cleaning up the analytics in order to make the data look mean something.
Definitely. I think that's everybody marketer switch to something that definitely help with that, but definitely thanks for that. Now, you do have a lot of experience already in the marketing world. Like we mentioned, you have your book, you really, have that get to attitude with marketing. But what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, focus on results. Absolutely focus on that. Most marketers, they focus very much on tactical activities about what projects they ran, how many blogs they wrote, or whatever it might be, and then they report that up and look how many people clicked on this blog. And those are not results. Results are things such as, I mean, they can vary, but it's like how much revenue did you bring in, how many customers did you retain, right? How much growth did you experience? Those are outcomes. They're extremely important in the life sciences industry in which I serve in, right? And in life sciences, we don't really look at the number of tests we do. We look at whether the patient is able to see better or not, right? As a marketer, you should be thinking that way as well. So if you come in as a kind of perhaps junior in the space and you really want to start thinking differently, if you think this way, you'll already distinguish yourself from 95% of other marketers out there.
Great advice. Thank you so much for that. Well, Abdul, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about Lexitas?
Actually, what I said earlier about the website plugin, right? Let's not worry about Lexitas so much, but let's worry about how can we help people make websites in general more accessible, right? Talk to your IT team, talk to your digital marketing team. Can we build a plugin into our website that increases accessibility for vision impaired people?
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Abdul, for being on. Guys, you can always check them out at lexitas.com. Run your ophthalmology trials with a true partner. Abdul, thank you so much for being on. For our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to our next episode at Path Monk Presents.
Thank you so much.